and then Honorable Bid. So the 1979 group down, some of us are here, and my other brothers there, you are most welcome. The Upper West region was carved out of the division of Upper region. And as a woman from the Upper East myself, I know the dynamics in the Upper West region. Poverty, outmoded cultural practices and customary practices, lack of schools, lack of support, bad roads, and lack of support for the farmers has always been one of the biggest challenges. If you go to the market today and you go to Agboguloshi especially and Accra Central, the women there, some of them are just girls. Some, I would say, not even up to the age of 18. And most of them are from the Upper West, if not from the Northern region. An interview and interaction with them when I was chairperson for gender showed that they need a lot of support to ensure that they get to where actually they can take care of themselves. But it's not possible. Unfortunately, we left government. What we saw was a putting up of structures for these people to go in and stay. Thus encouraging many more to come, thinking that it is a gold mine where they come and just pick and go. What will you do to stop? If not completely, at least reduce it seriously. Because I know there are a lot of intellectuals coming from the Upper West to ensure that this menace is reduced. What will you do?
Mr. Chairman, as rightly put, we the Upper Westerners belong to one of the poorest in the country. And the first and most important thing is to do youth empowerment. That is to encourage the youth and empower them to know that within the Upper West region you can succeed. You don't need to come all the way to Greater Accra and come and belittle yourself, because especially that we from the Upper West, we are very proud of ourselves. So one of the things that I'll do is to assist in the creation of jobs. Luckily for us, the NDC manifesto talks about a couple of things that we could, in the interim, use, like the coding system, issues around the apprenticeship system, as well as the farmer service centers. Because we are generally agrarian, we need to encourage our youth. That is always not about coming to the south that can enable you earn a livelihood, but you can be home and equally earn a livelihood. So the most important thing we must do first is to give opportunities to our youth by way of creating the opportunities for them to work. And secondly, we ought to also educate our people about how some of the traditional things we do and our cultural practices are hindering the growth and development of women. Fortunately, the affirmative bill has been passed, and we endeavor that Upper West should be one of the regions that will encourage women participating in education and other fields. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. My second question has to do with Upper West being one of the educational hubs in this country. And that is where we find UDS. It's a very big institution with so many students around. But there is a very big problem. Lack of accommodation is one of the issues. Lack of support for the students to enable them at least take care of themselves, because most of those who are there, they come from neighboring regions, and we know how our regions are. With accommodation, they would have been properly housed so that the running round will reduce. To look for accommodation, that will reduce. What will you do to ensure that at least if you will not be able to get accommodation for everybody, even if not government one, but other stakeholders who would want to put up hostels, what will you do to ensure that accommodation issues are remedied in UDS? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, the university has a vast tract of land, and therefore one of the things that I'll be encouraging is private partnership with the university, where the lands agreements are entered into for a period of time. The investor builds up the hostels, and the university run the hostels for a period of time. Thereafter, it reverts to the university. So basically, with accommodation, we have to look for investors, partner them, allocate university lands to them. They build up the places, they run it for a period of time, recoup whatever investments they put in, and thereafter the hostels become property of the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all your responses. I wish you the best, and I will continue to follow to see what actually is going on there, because it's a place of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Aja. Honorable Shai, you are on the floor now.
Thank you, Chairman. Chelsea, Council, congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
You know, I'm an associate member of your region, and so I have a great interest in the Upper West region. You've been regional secretary for some time now. You're familiar with the region very well. Tell us the major challenges you think your region faces and how you plan to tackle them if you are given the nod as a regional minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first and the most important one is the road network. The entire Upper West roads are deplorable. It doesn't connect to any of the other regions. Therefore, commuting on those roads is a disaster. That is one of the major issues we face in Upper West. The second one relates to the empowerment of the youth. Virtually, our young men and women have all resorted to being part of betting because they think that that is the only livelihood of success. So we need to empower them. Lastly, is abandoned projects. We have several projects within the Upper West region which, when completed, could enhance education and health facilities. But all these projects have been abandoned. When I get a nod to become regional minister, the first important thing is to encourage and create job opportunities for our youth. That keeps all of us within the region. Then regarding roads, we'll do periodic road maintenance, rehabilitation of our roads, whilst we continue to plead with central government to be able to do the major roads for us, whilst the internal ones will use the limited available means, possibly using the drip machines from the various MMDCs to rehabilitate the roads to make them more travel. Then the ones that we are capable of completing, especially the abandoned projects, we have to take a review of them, look at them and see whether they are feasible, or we need external support, or we need to solicit for grants from other people, not necessarily waiting for central government to allocate or award those projects to contractors. I believe that in pursuing either NGOs, pursuing either international bodies, we are capable of raising some funding for these abandoned projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Earlier, you alluded to the fact that agri-mechanization centers will come handy as far as farmers are concerned. One of the key challenges with farmers has to do with cattle rearers and the conflict between cattle rearers and farmers. I know that this cuts across from Bono East region through to Savannah and then to the Upper West region. Would you consider collaborating with your other regional ministers from these two regions to, as it were, manage, because cattle rearers are part of the system, and so manage and see how you can resolve various conflicts that invariably affect farmers? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first and most important thing is that most of the cattle is owned by we, the indigenes. And so the first point of view is to be able to form some form of association with the owners of the cattle, because sometimes the cattle owners, you don't find them being the herdsmen. They bring people in to herd, so that makes it difficult. But if we are able to sit with the cattle rearers and let them understand that once your animals stray into somebody else's farm, there will be a difficulty. So we must start from there. Then thereafter, you can do the various regional collaborations, where we will have to put in place some committees or teams to be able to fashion out the best way to resolve cattle entering people's farms and destroying them after they have put in all their life investment. So that I believe that that way we'll be able to resolve the issues of cattle entering into people's farms. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I cannot end this vetting without talking about our women folk in your region. They hold the power to our households, and we think that the Women Development Bank concept or policy should come handy. Tell us how you intend to make use of this policy to benefit our women and to increase their income levels.
Thank you. If you take the Upper West region, we have 51.2% being women and the 48% being men. And most of our households are more or less managed by our mothers and our sisters and our wives. And therefore, up north, generally, we have a certain culture where we know that the woman has to make sure that there's a meal on the table for the man. Once the Women's World Bank come, in the initial stages, what I intend to do or propose will be that such money should be given to groups, not individuals, where each of them serves as a collateral on the other. So when it's a group of women, let's say 20, and you give them an amount of, let's say, 100,000, they share it equally, and each of them serve as a collateral for the other. So they encourage each other to all work and then make sure that they return the money. It's better that way for starters when the bank come in, rather than to give chunks of money to individuals, and when they fail, it becomes very difficult to retrieve such monies. So my first proposal would be that they should come in the form of group loans to the groups who are recognized and identifiable within our communities. So that is what I'll propose, and I think that will help a lot, both in sustaining the income that comes into the bank, as well as increasing the number of women that we can support with the Women's World Bank. Thank you.
Chairman, let me conclude by, I note that very senior comrades accompanied you to this place, including our venerable senior Kumbo, Dr. Kumbo. I mean, the venerable chairman, regional chairman is there, Chairman Bonnie, and the rest of that. I mean, we don't expect that you disappoint them as a regional minister. Please prove that young people can take this region to a higher level, and we expect you to take the Upper West region to a different level altogether. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. As I said, I will do my best, and I believe that with the support of the senior comrades you've asked, the reason why they are all here is that they know that I'm a person that likes to consult. And I like to consult. I like to take decisions based on dialogue, that we came to consensus and take decisions. That's why you have all the senior members of the party here. Some would have been here too, but it is unfortunate that there was a mix-up. But we are grateful to be here, to be vetted. And I believe that once you give me the nod, maybe one day you ask me to come to your region and help. Thank you.
Honorable Richard, you are on the floor now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to congratulate the nominee on his nomination by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. At the just ended polls, you won all 11 constituencies for the NDC, and I believe it took the cooperation and support of all party members in the region. And I believe they are counting on you to bring them together and then to support them. As the regional minister, you are going to be father of the region. How are you going to ensure that you do not leave anybody behind from both sides to ensure that we retain the 11 seats and even with more or higher votes? And also, what are some of the potentials in the region that can bring about job creation? Thank you.
The first one is that when I became regional secretary, the Upper West had 6 seats out of 11. In my first term, we moved from 6 to 8 as the party administrator. Then subsequently, we went to 11 over 11. What I did as administrator of the party was to relocate to the Upper West region. Most people know that I had a very vibrant practice in the Greater Accra region. So I went back home to the Upper West region because we had come to the conclusion that if we don't get involved and we all decide to live in the city, or for that matter, Greater Accra, we'll go back home and there'll be nothing. So once I went back with the help of the elders, the party faithfuls, we've always dialogued. Even when we go through elections and there are disagreements, we dialogue. Dialogue is always the ultimate. And for me, all persons that encounter me knows I'm a peace-loving person, and I don't easily get annoyed. So that was the posturing, and I believe that will be the same posturing I'll use with my experience at the bar. I'm 21 years as a lawyer. I'm going to be 22 years in September. So we have always managed human beings as lawyers. You can't be a successful practitioner for 22 years without managing human beings. So I believe that with that experience, I should be able to bring everybody on board to make sure that ideas are discussed. I shouldn't be seen as the lead person. I should be seen as a lead person with support of my MPs, support of the elders, support of the party, so that whatever decision we take, however wrong or right it is, I know others participated. And that way, you carry the whole region along. The second question was about how to create job opportunities. Because we predominantly do agriculture, that is where I believe that we must invest in. And that is why we are excited that at least the first farmer service center was built partially in 2016 in the Sisala West District, and we lost power. So the structure is there. So I believe that should be the first farmer service center that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ought to build. And then from there, we can create the jobs. And it has a trickle effect. Once there's farms, other things will come into play. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. I wish to congratulate you and wish you God's blessings as the regional minister for the Upper West region. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are you done, Honorable? Yeah, okay. You have the floor.
Lawyer, congratulations. Your endurance up there and your determination has brought you this far. Congratulations. The road between Upper West and Upper East is very bad.
It's not a road.
there's there are a lot of opportunities for economic development between the two regions, but the connection is extremely important. What assurance do I have from you that you will dedicate significant time and attention to work with your parliamentary caucus so that in 4 years' time, that will be one of the best roads in the country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All of us in both the Upper West and Upper East regions know that that connection ought to be there because our traditional roles will play. The plain-based system of Frafres and Dagabes, the Sisales and the Kasines and all that. I think that it should then be a collaborative effort between our region Upper West and your region Upper East, so that we can have a stronger force beyond our 11 MPs. We add the 15 of you from Upper East, making it 26. That would be a louder voice if we were to come together as a group to ensure that we all put some form of pressure, I don't want lobbying, before the minister in charge of roads to be able to know that 26 MPs are crying that you need to connect the Upper West to the Upper East. I believe that dialogue, we should start it that way as it used to be. We were one region, Upper Regions, until 1983, when we were carved out as Upper West and you as Upper East. So I believe that with collaboration, we should be able to have the roads done. 26 MPs will be louder than 11. So I believe that we'll invite our brothers from Upper East to join us to be able to do the lobbying.
The road between Wa and the Savannah region itself has deteriorated significantly. Can I have your assurance that we will work very closely on that one as well?
Yeah, yes, that is so. And I believe I cited some form of a letter that part had been awarded. It was before the elections, and I do not know the state at which that letter or the effect of it after we took power. But I believe that when I get a nod as regional minister, fortunately, Biawuribe and I are colleagues at the bar, and we've done several things together. So I believe that we can collaborate and have that part done as well, including our MPs and all stakeholders in both regions.
Do you farm?
Yes, I do.
What do you farm?
It's called, I don't know how to pronounce, but it's sesame. It's smaller like beans, very sesame. That's what I farm in the Sisala East Municipal Assembly. The place is called Santijang.
Do you appreciate the potential of your region in cotton production?
Yes, when we were growing up, there was huge tracts of farms that were cotton. That's why we had the cotton processing factory. It's still there in Upper West.
The Jinri.
So, there, yes. But as we grew up, gradually, people lost interest in cotton farming. So maybe we may need to look at it again and find out the reasons why cotton farming was abandoned. Most people now do maize and soya, maybe with the intention to have it exported. And there's a small factory in the Sisala East, which does 1 million of maize. So I believe that maybe that is the reason why people want ready market. So that is why people have shifted to maize and soya farming. But I believe that once cotton had done well before in Upper West, it can be an opportunity to relook at it, to revisit it. And if it is feasible still, it is something that we can pursue.
Why do you think it's not feasible at this stage?
The reason is that the last time I heard of cotton farming in the Upper West region is over 20 years ago. So that is why I said we need to find out the reasons why factories that were involved in it, tractors that were being used and all that are being packed. What are the reasons? Maybe it's not viable. Maybe it is, or maybe new forms of farming the cotton has come and then the persons involved do not meet the criteria. So we need to still look at it and be sure that once we are going back into the cotton farm, we do it and do it well. That is the reason why I said we may have to check and see whether it's viable.
A little over 16 years ago, not 16 actually, 6 plus 8 plus 4 will give you 12. A little over 13 years ago, I was personally involved in a major campaign in your region to revive cotton production in your region. And within a year or two of campaigning and investing in the cotton subsector, we were able to bring back the Jinri in Tumu to start working. That created a lot of jobs, and then we increased cotton production to over 1,000% within 2 years. Do I have your commitment to revisit the project to develop cotton and engage in value addition as one of the key subsectors and campaign promises of the NDC?
Yes, Senior, you have my word, and that I'll look into it as I indicated. For me, I think those are the things that will immediately create jobs for the youth and to prevent our sisters and brothers from coming down south thinking that there are greener pastures here, only to come and go through inhumane treatment and to live in deplorable places. So any opportunity that must, any activity that must give me the opportunity to get the youth employed, I'll definitely pursue it. And I promise to speak to you sooner when I go back to the Upper West region if I get a nod as the regional minister. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leader. Mr. Nominee, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And at this stage, I would say you've actually been discharged and you hear from the committee. I will quickly read the names of the people who have come to support you. They are French. Oh, you can, sorry, French, you can't ask questions. Sorry.
Honourable members, order, order. Let there be order. Please, we are sorry. We don't recognize French. Please.
All right, sorry about that. Thank you. The list I have here, I'll start with Professor Benjamin Kumbo, our own revered majority leader, and a former MP for Laura Nandom. He's been a Minister for Defense, Justice and Attorney General, Interior, Health, and many more. Leader. Abdul Nasser Sani, Regional Chairman. Mumuni Believers, Vice Chairman. Thomas Said, Regional Organizer. Basira Sankara, Regional Youth Organizer. Alaji Isa Haku Sadiq, WAS Central Chairman. Tiana Boniface, Chairman DBI. Abu Salifu Tama, Secretary WAS Central. Hassan Danwana, Abdul Salim, no titles. Felix Daramani, President of Xavier Old Boys Association. Khalid Hafiz, businessman. And then I recognize the chiefs from the House of Chiefs in the Upper West region. Na Ali Awudu Purple, Betori Na, and leader of one Na delegation. Na Kadiri Ibrahim, secretary to Wana. Na Hachim Siedu Soli, Konji Hina. Na Imoro Purple, Ya Delina. Na Said Isahaku, Koro Yenina. These are the list of names I have here. I hope I have done justice to the names. Sorry. Yeah. I have just read what was sent to me. Yeah. Now, Mr. Nominee, as I said, you are just discharged and you hear from the committee. Thank you very much for coming.
I'm most grateful. I'm most grateful to all the panel members. I take the opportunity to thank the people of Upper West, and especially those who are here. I also thank all our MPs, 11 MPs in the House. I want to thank the biggest thank goes to His Excellency John Dramani
The
Mahama
media, please
for
wait. We haven't finished.
nominating me to represent the people of Upper West. And I believe that once I get a note, I will not disappoint. I'm most grateful.
Please, you are discharged. Honourable members, you can wait a little. Honourable members, order. Clerks, get closer. We'll take decision.
Sorry, honorable members, the committee is still in session, so the camera and the interviews, please should cease immediately. After, you can do your interviews and camera work. Thank you. Honorable members, please have a seat. Thank you.
Vetting of the nominees under reference has come to an end.